in these last few minutes, I want to bring up a question. It came up in our smaller breakout room from Dan, and he asked me why I do this work. And honestly, the question, as I was thinking about it, I realized the answer I want to give is to the question, why I still do this work. You know, I'm the youngest of 5 kids. I'm the baby. And from time I can remember, I had what people called baby fat. But it wasn't like the cute kind. I was just quite overweight. And that weight stuck with me for a long time, like through elementary school, middle school, high school, even into college. And with that weight came a bunch of weight, a bunch of baggage. I remember, and this must have been in middle school, maybe even earlier, I started to notice that if I stood upright, my chest would stick out. And my pectoral muscles, or to be honest, at that point, there was no muscle, it was just fat. It would stick out. And the boys in my school, it became like 2 targets on my chest. They would reach out and grab and twist my nipples, like literally twist them. So what did I do? Well, of course, like defensively, I hunched my shoulders. I pulled my chest in. I collapsed my posture. I physically cowered inward as a defense mechanism to create more space. And I think when you start doing that when you're 8 years old, you start to develop, and I started to develop a belief. This belief that if I stood tall, I'd be vulnerable. And if I took up space, I'd be a target. And these kind of beliefs, they don't just disappear. There's this one girl I remember, and honestly, I don't even remember the 2 words of her name, but I cannot forget the words of this song, or this chant she would sing. She'd go, "Fatty, fatty 2x4 can't fit through the kitchen door," which honestly is a terrible rhyme, but that didn't matter because it was catchy, and I still got it, and it's still in my head. I remember back then, I didn't like my body, and in a lot of ways, I didn't like myself. And so I made this decision. If I couldn't be liked for who I was, maybe I could be admired for what I did. And so I stopped focusing on being and just started focusing on doing. You know, I already had my head down, so I just put my head down and just like went into the grind. I became an achiever. I worked hard. I got into a good college, got good grades, got scholarships, got to travel the world, got cool jobs, better jobs, started companies, built companies, won awards, got recognition in the industry, moved up, achieved, accomplished, always more, always forward, always more, always up, always forward. Boom. And then fast forward, not that long ago, I'm standing in front of a room for my first live program of Stand and Deliver. And the CEO, Peter Myers, he's there. He since has become a mentor and a friend. And I deliver my section, and when I'm done, he comes up to me, and he says, "Adam, the content was great. You had the facts, you had the story, really strong." He said, "Can I give you a note?" Yeah, of course. He said, "Adam, it's about your delivery. I think we need to work on your posture." That old target on my chest, still there, one shot, center mass. He hit me exactly where that target was. And then Peter said something that I won't forget. He said, "Adam, sometimes posture is about confidence in your material. But sometimes it's about confidence in yourself. It's about your willingness to be vulnerable with an audience." That conversation just sort of like cracked open something inside of me. He and I kept working on it. He helped me find a movement coach. I started exploring my posture, my presence, physicality, not as performance tricks, but as a way for me to reclaim space and to stand tall and to finally show up. And it started a deeper shift in a way, changes in how I move and how I eat and how I train. And for probably the first time in my life, I can honestly say that I feel good in my body. And more than that, I feel proud of who I am and not just what I do. So yeah, the question was, why do I still do this? I mean, the work we do, ostensibly, it's about communication. But it's also about the person who's communicating. It's about how we show up, not just to be more effective or to be more persuasive, but how we can become a better version of ourselves, or the version of ourselves that we knew we're capable of becoming. And we call it high performance communication. But for me, in that moment, it wasn't about 15 minutes on a stage. It was about 30 years of belief unraveling in one moment of truth with this perfectly placed note from a coach. It was truly transformational. So why do I still do this work? It's because there are moments like that where the right note can not only change someone's presence on stage, but can truly change the trajectory of their life. That's what we're doing here. That's what's possible when we focus on this aspect of how we show up, how we stand up, how we stand tall. Any other questions?